Welcome to This is Football. Bienvenidos a This is Football. Another Tuesday, another night back with you, Nico. Looks like
What's
we're
up,
missing
brother?
Socio, huh?
Looks like Socio hasn't paid for his electricity bill, internet bill. I don't know which one it is.
I don't know, man, but I thought, he said earlier he was going to be here. We were waiting on him. Doesn't look like he's going to make it, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he'll make it. I don't know.
I,
Maybe
I, I
he'll.
think I think he got caught up watching the CCL game.
Okay. Yeah, I know Philadelphia
So
is currently winning, right? 1-0.
no, it's 0-0 halftime.
Oh, 0-0. Okay.
Yeah, zero
We'll
zero
keep you guys
halftime.
updated. We'll keep you guys updated on that. We have a very big show today, Nico. Very big show. A lot of stuff to talk about. I know
Big
it's in
one.
the title. We're definitely going to talk about a little MLS Matchday 6 recap. Get your scores, get the power rankings, and some interesting games this weekend. A couple of big scores, a couple of ties that we got. So we'll talk something like about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about definitely a little bit of Inter Miami's weekend, another loss, Nico,
Oof.
four in
It's
a
not looking
row.
promising, man. It's not looking promising, huh?
Yeah, and that's why the title on this show is Neville on the hot seat. Four losses in a row, similar to something that we started off with last season. So we definitely want to get into that. We're gonna get into where were we in comparison to last year versus this year. After the first 6 games, and we'll talk about that. And then of course I know what everybody wants to talk about, or maybe really what nobody wants to talk about, only what we want to talk about because we seem to be the only people who cover it on every show. But we're gonna continue to talk about the Messi saga. We got a little tweet, a little information from the real Fabricio Romano, not from Fabricio
Oh, come on
Romalo.
now, man. Come on now. Why
So
you gonna do me
so
like that, bro? Why
so
you
we
gonna do me
got
like that, man?
we got some new information, and we'll update you on that status. We'll definitely talk about that, and then we're definitely gonna get into some of the CONCACAF Champions League. We got the quarterfinals going on this week, the first legs game going on today, and we got three MLS teams in the quarterfinals. So we definitely want to talk about that, and a couple of the Liga MX teams that are in there. So like I
Yeah,
said, we
yeah.
have a big day today. A lot to talk about. Let's start off with the moments of the week.
For
What do
sure,
we
for
got for the
sure.
moments of the week?
All right, let's start off with the first one. And the first moment of the week, it's not necessarily the week. It just happened today, and I feel like we should share it with our fans. For those who are listening, Danny's gonna give a little bit more insight on it. But here you go.
No, it's absolutely disgusting for anybody to yell anything, at anybody negatively in any
Yeah,
soccer game.
at some point this has to stop. Like we have to do something about it. I know that in our leagues right here in America, we crack on really well when it comes to this. But the Italian league is very known for these things to keep happening. It's
Yeah.
very
So,
unfortunate.
yeah, very unfortunate event today. I don't know. I don't know if it shows this in the video that you had, Nico, but I saw a different angle of the goal. And one thing that I wanted to kind of mention, and I don't know again if anybody else saw the goal or was watching the game, something that I saw once Lukaku scores, his entire teammates off the bench run off the bench onto the
Yes.
field into the penalty box and give him a hug. So that tells you how much this means to his teammates. For them, to hear the racial slurs at him, for him to score this goal to put them in the lead in injury time, and to shut up the crowd and his entire team come and surround him, and then to get a red card. I mean, that's just Mickey Mouse by the
Yeah.
referee. I
Yeah.
mean,
So that's one of the moments of the week that we have. It's an unfortunate moment. We have another unfortunate moment. Now, this was a little bit funny. This was a little bit funny for a specific reason. I have yet to see something so curious. I mean, maybe in like amateur leagues or something like that, but I have yet to see something like what's about to be shown on the show right now. So look at this. Here we go. The referee gives the player a yellow card and then he knees him. He knees him on the.
let's see. There it is. Oh,
Look at him.
en lo que te dijes.
Yeah. What is going
Ooh,
on, man? What is going on? What on earth is this referee thinking? By the
I
way,
don't know.
the referee got a 12 match suspension.
I don't think that's enough, Nico. I don't think that's enough.
And I feel like he did it on purpose. I feel like he was literally looking for it.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you can see it by his facial expressions.
Yeah,
He was
he
going
kind
at
of
it.
like that. You see, look at his mouth
Yeah,
there. You see, look at his mouth. You see, he goes like he really wanted to give it to him.
yeah. Well,
Yeah. We invite you guys to to share your opinions with us in the comments, and especially on this. I mean, look, a lot of us have played in local leagues. We know that the referees in local leagues have had it, have had some sort of notoriety to challenge players, and but at this level, this is just unacceptable. Both of the clips from today are unacceptable by both referees.
absolutely, absolutely. And to me, it's very shocking to actually see that in professional leagues.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess Socio decided to wake up, or I guess his light bill. I don't know. Maybe he's on his phone, but it says, "Look, that's what the KSP ref wish he did to that guy."
Oh man, I remember that. I remember that moment. Yeah.
I do, and that's why I said, in local leagues, the referees are notorious for challenging players, and that's not correct. I think the referees should respect the players, and in return, the players should respect the referees. But again, we're talking at an international level, at a club level. That's very, 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 very bad from two referees.
Yeah, yeah. Very unacceptable.
Yeah, super unacceptable. So those are the moments of the week. Let's get into the show. We have a lot to talk about. I really want to get into what happened in the MLS this weekend, Nico.
A lot of games,
Um,
a lot of good games too.
there was a lot of good games. I want to show, the results of what happened. So, if we can have the production put that up there. Um, for those of you listening on Spotify, thank you. We have basically the MLS Matchday 6 results up. So we had Atlanta coming back with a win after a big loss the week before to Columbus. We
Now
had
they actually got all their players back after
correct,
international break, which is a good thing for them.
correct. Our local team Inter Miami lost 1-0 after a somewhat would say a dominating performance by the home squad Inter Miami, and an unfortunate loss there. You had Columbus with a huge win over Real Salt Lake. We have friends who cover Real Salt Lake, and they've talked to us. I mean, it sounds like they're in a complete nosedive.
Yeah,
It sounds like the organization is absolutely out of control.
they're they're
They're
they're they're rebuilding from rebuilding.
Yeah, they're yelling for Pablo's head over there. Poor Pablo Mastroeni, a former Miami Fusion player who we love so dearly down here, but it doesn't look like it's going good for him over there.
Absolutely, yeah.
You had basically the game of the week, which was the Seattle Sounders versus LA. And we'll talk a little bit about that game, not because of the score, but because of something else. And that's the viewership on that game. So,
Yeah.
something very curious to talk about that game that I want to bring up later in the show, which was the viewership of that game. But a big Seattle Sounders win. And we'll see how high Seattle are in the table. They've been playing good. I predicted it earlier in the season. You had a tie between New York City FC
I don't know
and
if you saw. I don't know if you saw the trend from what we're seeing here, but besides the 4-0 from Columbus and the 5-0 from Vancouver, uh, there was a very low scoring games.
absolutely a lot of low scoring games, especially from that Dallas Portland 1-1 game. Those are the two teams that one of the teams Inter Miami plays next is Dallas. After that, we play the Dynamo, who lost this weekend to the Earthquakes 2-1. So we'll get into some of that Dallas talk a little bit later when we talk about Inter Miami. But looking at these scores, like you said, Nico, not a lot of, other than those two games, the 4-0 and the 5-0, not a lot of scoring going around in the MLS.
No,
What's going around? Is that something that we expected, or do you think that it's this parity amongst the
you
teams in
know,
the league?
it's a few factors. I think the number one factor is the international break. Whether we like it or not, some players left the league to actually play for the national teams. That can be a factor. Number two, the season just started, so players are heating up. It's only been the 6th week. So we'll get to see more of what we are accustomed to see once the league gets going, maybe like by match day 12, 13. We'll get to see more of that. And number three, I don't think there's been any exciting transfers, incomings so far. as to say, oh, this guy is gonna break out the league or this guy is gonna do great things for it. So
Well,
it's been multiple factors. I think
you did see Bernardeschi's goal, right? El
that
Olímpico.
was incredible. Yeah, that was an incredible goal.
So I mean, so you do have, a couple of players here
Oh,
and there,
Bernardeschi was here last year, no?
No, 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 no. He
He
was
didn't play. He
a
didn't play the last few games for.
well, maybe he did the last couple of games, but I mean, now that he's got a full, preseason under
Yeah,
with the team and stuff, I mean, you can see he's making a big difference up there. And when they're getting Signet back, and they're gonna be a tough team to deal with Toronto. So let's go ahead
definitely.
and look at the standings after we look at the scores. And the Eastern Conference, we lost to the Eastern Conference leading team, Cincinnati. To me, that's a big surprise. They're a team who they're leading with their defense. They play, a somewhat of kind of like a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2 kind of formation. But to me, it's a surprise. Atlanta's not a surprise to me. I expected Atlanta to be somewhere in the top, but Cincinnati to be in the number one position in the East is a big surprise.
I think Cincinnati is a surprise because of the watching the 6 games they played and primarily focusing on the last one they played. Uh, they're not a team that control the game so much. They wait for their moments to
Right,
attack, and it's been working for them.
right.
We got to see how long that lasts, but so far so good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really stinks to see the home team down there outside of the playoff race in 10th. Um, only 6 points after 6 games.
Talk
But
about crashing real early.
right. After two really big wins at the beginning, it's just really been a complete crash since then. The team who we beat, the first game is in last place, and it took us, a really tough time to beat Montreal. But they're in last place, and we got to win over them. So we got Dallas next week, who's in sixth place in the Western Conference. Hey, St. Louis continues to be up top. Seattle's number 2. LAFC, who seems to be struggling as of late. Getting a tie this weekend
Eh,
over in
I
Colorado.
don't think I don't think they're struggling. I think that LAFC is managing their time. They have a few more games than every other team, in the MLS. So, it's not that they have the right depth that you would think, like for example, if you base it on like European teams where they have a broad roster with 15, 16 players that can be starters at any moment. It's very difficult for the MLS to do that, and with the CCL being played in, I think they're managing very well.
Absolutely. Okay. Surprised to me to see Portland out of the playoffs, and also the Galaxy doing so bad down there in 12th place.
Alex is atrocious.
Absolutely atrocious. You know,
I
I don't
mean,
even know what Chicharito's doing out there. They have Martin
Ricky
Cáceres.
Puch, Ricky
Yeah,
Puch.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing out there, but and our dear friend, Kevincho, his poor adopted team, Kansas City, is down there in
Adopted
13th
team,
place.
adopted team.
That's right. He said adopted. So,
Yeah, he's gonna come to
so
Miami soon, man. I think he's
that
gonna
will.
come to Miami soon.
I mean, he did tease a little something today. We'll see. He wants to come down to Miami. He doesn't want to come down to Fort Lauderdale. So I think he's gonna wait until the team, gets a stadium down in Miami to make that move. But we'll definitely keep in touch with him and see if we can get him down sooner, because he definitely wants to be in the pink. He definitely, he said it to us. He wants to be in the pink, and if we can get the right pieces in place, I think we'll have him down here
Yeah,
supporting
we'll
us.
see.
So
We'll see
just like you said there, let's look at the power rankings, man. Let's bring on the power rankings.
for
And
sure.
and I don't agree. I don't agree with these power rankings. I don't agree that LAFC is in third place and is number 1 in the power rankings. Although the points that you made were valid, that they're playing in multiple competitions, they're resting players. I don't agree. I think St. Louis should be number 1. I mean, they're 5-1. They showed, they were the team that was undefeated. To me, St. Louis should be number 1, even though they lost this weekend.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the rankings. At the end of the day, rankings, they vary each match day. Uh, I do, however, see that LAFC, they're pacing, like I said. So I wouldn't take them out of there. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised to see teams like Philadelphia in the top 10.
Yeah,
Philadelphia has been really bad.
Yeah, yeah. Philadelphia has not been that good. I mean, you see Columbus with the 2 back-to-back wins. They move up, into 7th place in the power rankings. Minnesota with a big win over, undefeated St. Louis. Although it was just off of a PK, questionable at one. But they move into the rankings. So, interesting, to see these rankings.
Your candidate is there. Your candidate
Absolutely.
is there.
My candidate is there. My candidate is there in third. I had Seattle to win. Atlanta is there, who is a couple of our candidates, but we're still missing the Austin, who we thought was going to be in there.
Man, Austin needs to shape up.
Big disappointment. We thought maybe Inter Miami after the first couple of weeks was going to be in the top 10, and we'll definitely get into that here shortly. So actually, let's just get into that, Nico. I'm sick of talking about the MLS. I really want to talk about Inter Miami. Let's get into that. So let's get into what happened this weekend, and I really hope that Socio's laptop finishes charging, because it was the first game that he watched all season finally, and I really wanted him to have his comments and stuff.
Out of all the match days,
yeah, it was
the one that he's missing is this one.
And thank you for reminding us, Stevie. Nashville is trending, and our good friend Fafa scored his first goal of the season.
Yeah,
we actually did have a clip of that on Twitter and on Instagram of him discussing his partnership with his
Hani Mukhtar.
Yeah, with his forward partnership with Mukhtar. So if you haven't listened to that, definitely get into that. And if you haven't listened to that on Spotify, definitely get into that episode. Super interesting episode with Fafa. But let's get back into our Inter Miami weekly recap here.
Look who showed up. Wait a second. Is that who I think it is?
Who's there? Let's get back into our Inter Miami weekly recap here.
What up, my guys? My bad. Yeah, no excuse. I was about to lie right now on live.
I mean,
what's up, man?
It'll be nice if you put mute on your YouTube.
Yeah, or on your laptop, or on one of those.
My phone, the way I was communicating with you guys.
I know, but I'm so glad. I'm so glad you made it, because we're talking about.
I made it just in time. Just in time.
So I want since this is the first game that Socio watches since the first game of the season that he went to the game with me. I want Socio's analysis on the game. So let's hear your analysis on the game.
We dominated.
Okay.
Dominated, pero stupidly, and to the point where it's a little bit shocking. But we don't create all. We don't create anything. And mind you, the ones we do create, let me see make sure I'm pointing right. And then the ones we do create, this guy that I'm pointing at up here said who's the guy who came here to score 15, 20 goals in the season, can't even hit the target, dog. Can't even hit the target.
I mean, it's hard for a forward to hit the target when he only gets 3 balls a game.
Hey, but when you get 3 balls a game, you should at least bury one.
Timeout two. I have beef with this guy. He can't comment. We were at the same bar, the same time frame. He didn't watch a minute of the game on my phone. So I can't. I don't want to hear him.
I'm a West Coast guy. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to tell you? I'm a West Coast guy. I watch West Coast games.
With two negative inside the 6. Papi, just lock your ankle. Nah, this guy does a pirouette. It hits his thigh. No, viejo, no. But
Socio, bro. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
It was a frustrating one. I know. Yeah.
We're all Philadelphia today,
and then
so something interesting. So we're getting into Inter Miami. Look, just like you said, same story all season. It's been the same story every single game. We struggle to do anything in the final third, unfortunately. We brought in Joseph. Unfortunately, Campana's been injured. And we can't seem to get word from the team. It seems like he's been practicing, but he's just not ready yet. It's been his calf injury. I don't know. We see videos of him training with the team, but it doesn't seem like he's ready. Could it be that it could be time to bench Borgelin? To bench Joseph and start Borgelin?
Absolutely. You need changes. You need to change your lineup.
I think Borgelin gives you a target up there that that Joseph doesn't. Now the question is, do you play Joseph with Borgelin, or
That's
do you
what I was
just
gonna
bench
say.
Joseph?
Why not try them too? The way you wanted to try out Joseph and Campana.
You got to go back to the basics, though. Is this a team capable of centering the ball at all times to a striker that big? Do we have the
Yes.
right players for that?
We now have a left back who can do that.
Yeah, we don't have a right back
And
that can do that yet, but the left back can.
when he wants
on
to,
and
the guy
off.
on
He's
the
on and
right, yeah, the guy when he wants to but that guy on the left, negative. No, that guy, yeah, I have faith in that guy.
Yeah, so
But
I
again,
mean,
try them both, and I think Joseph would benefit to have someone laying the balls off to him. Porque like my boy said, his knees are chicle, dog. They're gum.
yeah, man,
It's
I mean,
hard doing that change, bro.
It's coming
It's
off.
hard doing that
I
change.
don't know, man. You see his work rate on the field, though. It's not like
No,
he's not running around.
yeah, I'm not saying that. But you're here. You're not here for the work rate. You're here to score. And again, I'm telling you that first one inside it hurt me, dog. I see.
Especially hold on, especially after seeing him score with Venezuela in the international.
He came back. All right, he's found it.
That's what I'm saying. So and he was close. He was close the game before.
No, yeah, like John says, yeah, of course we're missing a 5, pero we haven't even heard that.
Yeah,
at least lie to us. Hey, we're trying to go do this.
Well, we
did get something from the team. You know, within the team, they told us that we're gonna go with what we got. So we lost Gregory, but
there you go.
The team's gonna go with what we got. We're not gonna be signing players. That was the perspective of the team prior to this weekend's loss. Correct. I don't know if that's gonna change anytime soon. But as far as the team goes, their word to us was exactly that. We're gonna go with what we got, which is promoting the young players that we have and maybe adjusting other players within the lineup.
Yep. Look, we play,
which is exactly what he's been doing. Neville. However, they might even put Harvey Neville at the 5. So,
which they said that he had some experience there and that he could, I don't know, man. To me, I don't see him.
I have some experience. I have some experience as a striker. Maybe they want to use me too.
I was gonna say.
I mean, I've seen that experience. You hit the goal one out of every 25. So I don't think they're good. I mean,
that's kind of like Joseph, right?
There you go. So
numbers are adding up.
So I mean, we talked about this earlier, Socio, before you got in. And if you're joining us on Spotify, we're talking about our Inter Miami weekly recap. This is football. Don't forget to subscribe on all of our social medias at TI Football Podcast. Thanks again for joining us. If you're in the chat there, don't forget to comment. We'll throw it up there. We'll banter with you. We'll argue with you.
Answer questions too.
You can bitch at us. We don't care. We love it if you'll bitch at us. Apparently everybody loves to bitch at me. So let's go. So anyways, we had 2 big wins against, one win against a team who's in last place, 1 win against a team who was expected to do, big things this season, then 4 losses in a row. Where do we go from here? We play Dallas next week, who's 2-2-2, who's coming off of a tie to a Portland team who is in 10th place in the West, who, basically is kind of where we're at. I mean, they're in 6th place. They've got 8 points. We've got 6. I mean, where do we go from here? If we win, are we happy? If we lose, is Neville on the hot seat? What are your guys' sentiments going into this weekend's game?
Nico.
I don't know, man. I think that Dallas might be overperforming. I honestly haven't watched much about them, but I do know that they weren't ranked that high for preseason. So I just don't know. It's an iffy game. To me, honestly, it's an iffy game, man. Because if Inter Miami loses, the hot seat that Neville's gonna be in, it's starting to pick up.
I don't think that hot seat exists for him.
I know. We'll talk about that hot seat in a second, Socio. I want to get your take on the game. You think we should come out of this game with a victory?
We have to. I think.
So you think this is a do or die game? This is a.
Not do or die, but like No, yeah, I guess.
There's no duo.
But again, I don't think
man.
it's do or die in that sense. But we have to win for morale reasons.
Peter Burns said it. There's no do or die games in the MLS.
There's not. And look. We talked about it with our colleague Camicho. You know, we couldn't believe that Peter Vermes would say that, but it's true in the MLS. And look, I'll be the first one to say you could probably lose every game you want until June and still make the playoffs. I mean, 9 teams in each conference make the playoffs. So, I mean, essentially, you know, we could literally sign a 5 in the summer and then get hot, kind of like how we did last year, squeak into the playoffs and win. So, I mean, I don't think Phil is on the hot seat.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I don't think this Inter Miami team can do that. I don't think they have it. They have it to do what they did last year, where they went hot for like 8-9 games. I just don't see it. I think if we can, what I've been watching the past 4 weeks, it's really worrying, guys. It's not.
I don't know. I feel like we said the same thing about the last year's team. Oh, they don't have it in them, and then boom, they surprise you with a run. You know, the MLS is a little bit like the NBA with the runs. You get.
Yeah.
That's what I'm not saying. And again,
but
I don't think the hot seat exists, bro. I don't think the hot seat exists.
But in
we
this
have
case,
to ride with him until the end of the season.
Explain to me why. I want the viewers to understand because
first and foremost, who's lined up? Who do you think? Who's out there? Give me names. Accessible.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
You don't have to bring somebody in today. You can
fire
him.
Ride with the interim.
No,
I don't think.
Why not?
So.
You can have Jason Christ. Jason Christ has been
let it run out.
Jason Christ has been a head coach in the MLS before, and I believe Jason Christ has actually. I believe he's coached internationally as well, if I'm not mistaken. And if I am, I'm sorry, but he's definitely coached in the MLS before. I believe he coached NYCFC or a couple other teams. But hey, I'm all in to ride it out with Jason Christ and the youngins. I tweeted about it today. I'm all in. You know, if it gets to that point, you put in Jason Christ. You know, you start all the youngins, and we see what we got. You see if they have something in it.
Yeah, I don't think another reason why they would do it is because it'd be another admission to them like fucking up. So it's just like, hey, let's just ride it out, see what happens. Last year we got a hot little run, made the playoffs. Suffice, that'll be good. He took us to the playoffs 3 years, hey, but it didn't work out. Bloom, bloom, bloom. We're gonna go now without the sanctions and that. We're gonna go a new way. We're gonna bring in a new coach. Okay. I don't think they let him go. Como te digo, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't feel like this. It's weird, and it's not an MLS thing to just let someone ride.
It might not be, but at some point, you know, you got to start, you know, acting up as a club and saying, hey, we're not turning this thing around. You have 4 losses now. Let's see what we have in schedule. We have FC Dallas, then we go visit Houston, we go visit Columbus, and then we have Atlanta at home.
Columbus, who won 6-1 last week and 4-0 this week.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna say this now, and then we're gonna come back on May 6th, which is May 7th. We'll come back May 7th on this. If Inter Miami out of those 4 games don't get at least 3 points, Phil Neville's out.
So you're saying they have to win either tie 3 of the 4 or win 1 of the 4 games?
Correct.
I mean,
Inter Miami gets less than 3 points out of those 4 games, he's out.
I'm gonna be wild and say we get 6 points.
Ooh, I like that. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But mark it down. May 7th, we'll meet back here and we'll see if that is the case. You know, like I don't know, man.
You're hoping we get 0 points out of the 4 games.
I didn't say anything, man.
But I didn't say it either.
All I'm saying is, you know, look, if it happens and we end up going with Jason Christ at the end of the year, I'm cool with that. And then we can make a splash a splash signing sometime in the summer. We'll see.
I wanted to compare the start of the, you know, Inter Miami, compare from last year to this year, you know, and comparing the teams that we played against, you know.
Okay.
So here we go.
All right, so let's compare.
We remember that we started very, very weak last season. The team had lost actually they lost a lot of games in a row. So we started off with a tie against Chicago. Then we went on and we lost 5-1 to Austin. We lost 2-0 to LAFC. We lost 3-1 to Cincinnati. We lost 3-1 to Houston. And then we won against New England Revolution 3-2. In the first 6 games, we got 4 points. I think it's a very, very similar
Yeah, it's the
scenario
same because
this
those
year.
first 2 games are fake.
However, we do see that we played tougher teams when it came to last year rather than this year.
Correct, because you have an LAFC, you have an Austin FC, and you have Cincinnati and New England, who is New England was a very good team, or is a good team. This year we had Montreal and YFC. They're up there. Toronto has struggled. Chicago's not a strong team, but Cincinnati is. I'd say it's pretty spot on, bro, man. I don't think it's that off. So again, we don't see much improvement. Two more points. We don't see much improvement. It's the same.
That's what I'm worried about. My biggest worry within this team is the fact that we somehow have a game plan going into the game. However, when things are not going our way in those 90 minutes, there's just no plan B. And there's never been.
Clue how to make in-game movements.
There's no adjustments. There's no adjustments into the team, and that's worrying. That's worrying because it didn't happen last year, and it hasn't happened this year in the first 6 games.
At all, bro.
So how long do you ride that? You get me? So I don't know. I feel like these 4 games are going to be pivotal for Phil Neville to keep his job.
Yeah. Well, we heard. We heard that Potter got sacked today out in England.
No, not today. He got sacked over the weekend.
Over the weekend, and I mentioned, in our chat that the coach from my team, Nacional, he got sacked after 8 games. He didn't even lose a game. He won 4 and tied 4, and they sacked him. So, look, Neville's been here now 3 years. He's made the playoffs 1 year, and we lost. But as far as soccer improvement, like improvement in tactics, improvement in play, other than maybe the fact that John mentions we have a better defense this year, we have less.
Yeah, but those are not game improvements. Those are player improvements.
Correct.
Players that came in made the team better just because they're better player than what we had,
or a player who is stepping up this year. For example, Drake Callender, who is playing at an MVP level,
big time,
at an MVP level versus the last year where maybe he wasn't as confident as he was this year. So yes, in theory, yes, our defense is better because we brought in the players to strengthen that position. But in overall, like you guys are saying, in-game movements, in-game tactics, in-game substitutions, things like that. That's where Inter Miami lacks, and that's where we would like to see Phil kind of excel at or work at, and if anything, he can always worst case he can call Ted Lasso. He always believes. And if not, he can call the guy that coaches West Ham. That guy's an asshole, but maybe he'll give him some advice too.
David Moyes?
No, in the Ted Lasso show, the guy that coaches West Ham. That guy's an asshole, bro. That guy's an asshole. So, all right. So
maybe we need to bring Saba in.
Oh, bro, if we could get Saba on Inter, oof. Come on, bro.
Man, I think we'll switch up Saba for Joseph for sure. Saba,
all day, bro. All day, bro. To have the team go like this and just be zen, all day. Although I know that they do some of that today in the pregame. And Franco did mention it to us, and we have heard some interviews of DeAndre and Drake talking about that the team is grounded and they meditate before games. So Zaba would fit right in.
Yeah.
So
we have our very own
Zaba.
We have our very own Rojas with Rodolfo Pizarro. So
there you go. Yeah.
We have our very own Rojas on the show, and he's right here. Football is live, socio. Football is live. But anyways,
football is live.
So for those of you listening on Spotify, let's shift gears, guys. For those of you in the comments, keep commenting. We want to shift gears to CONCACAF Champions League. We're getting into the thick of things. We're getting into the quarterfinals. We have a game going on right now. Philadelphia is playing Atlas from Liga MX.
Atlas. ¿Qué Atlas?
I said Atlas.
Not Atlas. Atlas.
Atlas.
There you go.
What does it say?
Yeah.
He said Atlas.
Sorry.
Well,
Sorry,
Atlas.
my gringo accent just came
out,
out,
yeah.
from Kansas
Atlas.
City. So
Atlas.
I apologize there.
There you go.
I apologize. Anyways, we have
Nosotros.
LAFC playing against Vancouver Whitecaps. Unfortunate that two MLS teams have to go up against each other. On the other side, on the other side of La Chave, you have León playing against the surprise of the tournament, Violet.
Socios team.
Socios team.
Violet.
I heard Socio is getting a Violet jersey. Is that true? Did you order one?
Hey, I talked to my plug. He's looking for me. He's looking at it for me. Sapase to Amazos.
There you
Shout
go.
out to y'all.
There you go. And then you have Tigre against Motagua, which I was talking to Nico about this before the show, and I think Tigre is going to absolutely smash them. I don't even know why they're going to play that. But to me, it looks like my prediction.
Final results going to be 5+ for Tigres.
Yeah. I think obviously that side of La Chave is going to be Tigres León in the semifinals. I think on the other side, the LAFC Vancouver is a very intriguing matchup considering Vancouver, just came off of a big win. And like you said, LAFC is kind of pacing themselves. So we'll see if they're going to go all in on the CCL.
Yeah. I was talking yesterday to one of the guys that, by the way, shout out to the guys at LAFC with their podcast. We were talking yesterday about LAFC going all in this tournament, and I asked them a question, and I asked them if LAFC, if they lose to Vancouver, would it be a failure? And all of them said absolutely yes. LAFC needs to go to the final because of the team they have and because the road that they've been going through.
Yeah, I agree.
So you think
an ambitious club?
So you think they get through Vancouver and eventually face off the winner of Philly and Atlas?
They get to Vancouver, yeah, they get through. And I'm not sure who's gonna come out of that Philly Atlas, honestly.
That I think that's the most intriguing of the three matchups.
How much I have it here on the side? Not bad.
Yeah.
Philly hit the post recently.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they've been struggling on the MLS side, but we've seen on the international side they've actually played better. So they might be trying to put their marbles into that basket as well. And if it doesn't work out, then they'll move back to the MLS.
Yeah, but they don't get a win today and it's over. Well, they're not going to Jalisco to win the game.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
says who? You gotta play, You gotta play.
Yeah. MLS teams don't have a good rate when it comes to going and visiting Liga MX teams, especially big clubs.
Yeah,
it's like that number. There's a chance.
At some point, it's got to change. It's got to change. So we hope that for the MLSs.
I'm down for all these MLS teams to take the CCL serious.
Me too. Absolutely.
Finally.
You'll still be able to make the playoffs. No worries.
Yeah, absolutely. So after moving from CCL, let's get into the big news that everybody's probably been waiting on. Let's get into Messi and the new status. Yeah, I know nobody likes to cover Messi, but we're the channel that loves to cover Messi, so we're going to cover Messi on every single show because I like to talk about Messi. So today, a report came out, or much less not a report, more so a tweet from Fabrizio Romano.
Absolutely not, John.
Oh, no.
Definitely not. Lampard out just from the start, FYI.
Yeah. Enough with the British experiment,
Yeah. So a report came out today that Messi basically, Romano basically threw out all of Messi's options on the table.
A report came out today that Nico said 5 weeks ago. So is that what we're going to talk about?
Not yet. You're almost there, Nico. You're almost there. So the tweet said basically that Messi's status is as follows. And this is for those of you who can't see what's on the screen listening on Spotify. Messi's status currently has a $400 million a year bid.
Take it.
From Al Nazir, which is
Al Hilal.
Hold on. Al Nazir's rival, which is Al Hilal.
Correct.
And Al Nazir is where
Clásico, my homeland.
Cristiano went. So they're basically trying to create a new El Clásico in Saudi Arabia. and I want to talk about that, but let's go through the other three options. Messi's priority is to stay in Europe. And that's going to be what we said on this show, a couple of shows, a few weeks ago. We said on the show, Messi's priority is to stay in Europe. And currently, he is pending an offer from Barcelona, but Barcelona cannot give him that offer until they finish up their current claim with the FFP, with the financial fair play. So as soon as that gets wrapped up, which I read,
well, they also got to clear books.
Yeah, they got to clean.
Yeah, house. But look. Just like I read, another tweet that said, apparently everybody in the Barcelona locker room is all in for a Messi return.
I mean,
they would welcome him back.
Yeah, it'd be stupid.
I mean, I can blame. I can welcome him back. It just doesn't mean that you're going to be able to pay him.
Yeah. Look, I think if Messi wants to go back to Barcelona, it's going to get done. Wherever Messi goes or wants to go, it's going to get done. That's what I think. Messi.
I think he's going to go back, but I'm not so sure about that.
Well, and so the last point I have here is Messi has an offer on the table and has had an offer on the table from PSG, but we know that he's not he's not interested in staying in France. He's been booed the last 3 games from the fans.
There's a reason why, and there's a reason why. The only reason why he hasn't accepted that offer is not because of the booing. It's not because of the problems with the fans or anything like that. The reason why Messi hasn't accepted that offer is because he wants to see PSG's project going forward. He wants to see who the coach is going to be when they let go of Galtier at the end of the season, because the season has been horrific for them. And he also wants to see what type of players they bring for him to get helped.
PSG signed Zidane. You think Messi stays?
I'm not
you
sure.
Think he wants? You think he'll stay if Neymar resigns?
Nah, I'm kidding. He's not staying, bro. He's not staying at that PSG.
You don't think he stays if Neymar resigns from his poker career?
Nah, he'll go and join him. He should already, bro. He needs to take that Al Hilal offer, bro.
So I want to talk
about everything.
I want to talk about that. All right, and we had a pretty rough exchange in the chat, between everybody in the chat today. I'm personally, I think if he takes that offer, it hurts his legacy, and I think by Cristiano going to the Saudi Arabian League, I think he hurt his legacy as well. I think he should have came to the MLS, should have played for one of the LA teams.
It's the same
thing. He should have played for what? KC?
Sporting KC, man. He would have made
would have made a couple, bro. That $300 million a year.
That happened.
Come on, yeah, bro. Come on, man. Bro.
They don't need that money.
Messi just won the gold one, the most important one. You can do whatever you want. Take those 400 M's, bro. Leave your family, like they said in the chat, leave your family in Barcelona or wherever it is that they love. Yeah, a palace to yourself with camels, bro. What?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think Stevie's right. I mean, I've been backing up Nico on this. I've told our colleagues, over at Dry Pink Stadium, they all laughed in my face when I said that we heard, that Messi was going back to Barcelona. That Nico heard that, and I trust Nico, with what he hears, and I'm gonna back him up. And they laughed, and so far, that seems to be the trend. The trend is he wants to go to Barcelona.
What happened? We gotta go.
We gotta go for Philly?
Save! What a save!
Oh,
what a shot! Maglin from outside the 18, upper 90, and el arquero a mano cambiada. What a save! Hey, Philly's been on in the last 10-15 minutes.
Well, hopefully they get a goal. So
big game.
All right. So, I mean, that $400 million offer. What do you think, Nico? You think he takes that?
And clean.
I don't think he takes it.
I don't think so. I don't think he takes it.
I don't think he takes it.
I would.
Yeah.
But we know because we know you have to pay your light bill. We know.
Exactly. That'll help a little bit with it, bro.
He don't have to worry about the light bill anymore with that.
Oh, you won't have to the light bill.
You won't have to worry about. This guy won't have to worry about a computer, bro. He'll have somebody to charge his computer before, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
You see? Exactly. That's why he wants that.
I'll have two of them.
But I mean, at the end of the day,
I think Messi's old. I mean, the money will be nice. It's $400 million a year. It's incredible. However, he does have a lot of ties with other things outside of soccer, outside of football, when it comes
Yeah.
to making money. He has, the hotel, and he's in the hotel industry. He has a lifetime agreement with Adidas. He's with Gucci and Balenciaga and many other brands. He's also the ambassador of the Saudis. He's gonna be the ambassador of CONMEBOL, the
He's got
World Cup.
that Lay's deal, the chips.
Pepsi,
Right,
Pepsi.
right.
So I don't think Messi really needs the money. So he's not looking at that deal for that reason. Uh,
Yeah, no.
I do think that what we said before, what we've been saying throughout the whole time, that the number one thing is Messi wants to stay one more year in Europe. It's actually going to happen, whether it's Barcelona or somewhere else. And I wouldn't be surprised if another team comes in and tries to ask for his services for one more season, and that team wears a sky blue uniform.
Yeah, and the guy who's gonna come recruit him
Never.
is called
He'll
Pep
never.
Guardiola.
Yeah, he'll never come to this men's league. Never.
Look,
There he'll
talking
tarnish
about this,
his
talking
legacy if he
about the
comes to the
men's
Prem.
league. Hold on, talking about the men's league that Socio likes to talk about. I do want to put something up on the screen, and no, it has nothing to do with Arsenal, man. Don't worry, we're not
Top
talking,
of the league.
We're not
Top of the
talking.
league.
We're not talking about that Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh, that's fine. I will.
So I want to put something up on the screen that came across my phone today. That's really interesting. The most valuable leagues in the world, and I don't want to talk about 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 because those are the obvious ones. I want to talk about 6 really quick. The Championship, the second division of England, is the 6th most valuable league in the world. The second division.
What does that tell you about the other leagues?
What does that tell you about the rest of the world, Nico?
Yeah.
Money.
I mean, a lot has to do with the TV rights that they have.
The TV
No,
rights.
the TV rights. The TV rights. The EFL
amazing.
just signed a new contract, so they're banking. There's a lot of teams that are making more money playing in the championship that they are playing in the Eredivisie or the Portuguese league. So
What do you think Wrexham's trying to get back there?
Yeah. Well, the other surprise is MLS cracks the top 10. They're at number 9, and they're worth about 1.18 billion euros.
That's shocking. That was shocking.
It is shocking. I didn't think it was worth that much. I thought it was worth a lot less. Maybe the TV deal with Apple is maybe what's kind of
now is this accounted overall with teams with stadiums and the organization infrastructure and all that,
or it has to be as a whole? Yeah, it has to be as a whole. How else would you?
I would assume so. But I don't know. I need to check with our production on that. So
because I know, for example, the other day Forbes came out with their top 10 MLS valuations, and for the first time ever, LAFC cracked the 1 billion mark.
Right.
So if you go by that, right here it says that the MLS is worth 1.18 billion. So it's
right. So you're saying that the rest is 18 million. Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't really tie. So we'll definitely have to check in with whoever made this graphic, and double check and see what these league valuations.
They should have put an asterisk.
It might be at the players too. Like how much the players are worth.
How much the players are worth. It could be that.
It would make sense. It would definitely make sense.
Absolutely. So,
and if that's the case, that's even better for the MLS, to be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, and you see a lot of MLS players going to the Bundesliga. They're in fourth to the Eredivisie, which is intense. So, I mean, you see these players from the MLS going into these leagues that are valuable leagues. You just want to see them excel there. So, but again, I just want to bring up this graphic. I just thought it was interesting. Just to throw up there and to chat about before we get into another topic in the English Premier League. And that is something that we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but that's, Potter getting sacked by Chelsea. We kind of wanted to get into, who are the possible replacements? Because, we have some friends that are Chelsea fans, and we know they're interested. and we like to make fun, fun of Chelsea, getting whooped on every week. And
By the
so
way, today they tied 0-0 against Liverpool in a boring
What a
snooze fest.
boring game.
I saw that. I saw a
Oh,
meme, something
horrible.
going around that said it was like
Man.
garbage versus trash.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
And that was an insult to garbage and trash.
Yeah, dude. What a
Bueno.
horrible game. bro.
But I also read something that said that that apparently Jurgen Klopp said that they were going all in and this and that. But then I saw a starting lineup and
All in
he
where?
started the whole bench.
He's going all in the summer. That's what he's
All,
doing.
all in is the name of the
All-
documentary on Amazon.
All or nothing. Yeah, all or nothing.
Yeah.
Got it. So let's put up on the screen who the top 4 candidates are. We'll give them a little bit of a little bit of a roundtable discussion here on what we think they are. But the top 4 that we've read and that we've put together, the list is Nagelsmann, Spalletti, Pochettino, and Luis Enrique. Those were the top 4 names
Those are
that,
very good
that
names.
we've gathered around.
Those are very, very good names.
Absolutely. But this is a team who's changed coaches now, twice in the last 12 months,
Yes.
3 times in the last 2 years, I believe, because Conte was only there for a year and a half or a couple of years, right?
Well, they changed managers.
Yeah, Conte
So-
was there for a couple of years.
So, yeah, a lot of interesting names, but they bring in interesting names. They bring in Conte. They bring in Tuchel. They bring in, Potter wasn't a huge name, but, I mean, they
He
bring
was
in these
Potter was a huge name within the league.
yeah,
Potter was
within the
a
league,
very-
but
Chelsea destroyed his name.
I mean, now you're talking about bigger names
World
outside league,
class
right?
coach,
You're talking about Luis Enrique, who has coached the national team. You're talking about Spalletti, who has won a
He's about to win the Serie A. No,
Right, well, I said, yeah, he's about to win.
win.
Right, he's about to win the Scudetto. So, I mean, you talk about Pochettino, who had, who worked wonders at Tottenham and then had a huge.
Y ojo con
PSG.
ese. Pochettino, I think for me would be a low key rowdy get for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that he knows the EPL.
Yeah, he knows ball. He knows ball too, bro.
So
People just love to clown him. I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about Pochettino.
I think the biggest surprise.
Nah, he's got it, bro. And that Chelsea, they'll give him money to spend and let him implement. I think out of
The obvious choice right here will be Nagelsmann.
that's the obvious one. And
because
that's what looks like
Nagelsmann-
what's happening.
Yeah, and that's like Joshua said, that looks like the one that they're going to lean towards. The reason
They
why
don't wanna
there's an
waste
obvious
time.
one is because he didn't get fired because of the way his team was playing. His
Nah.
team was actually first place. He's undefeated in the Champions League. The team were rolling on the Champions League. The reason why he got fired is because he just simply had something against a few players in the locker room. So
Yeah.
I think that would be the easiest choice.
But could that knowing that he had some trouble with players in the locker room, could that make play into the decision that Chelsea's management makes in
I don't know,
bringing
bro.
a new
Chelsea-
coach?
Look at the club you're talking about. They have no idea what they're doing over there.
Exactly. Chelsea. Not only that, they have what is it? They signed like what 8 new players, 9 new players. So
11 wingers.
So you have a
So it's like Inter Miami, who signed like 9 nines, right?
Yeah, I mean you have a team that you're gonna go into the preseason, and you're not gonna have any veterans in the team. You're not gonna have players that have been there for long. That they're gonna have to they're gonna have their award in the locker room or anything like that. It's just a fresh clean slate for them to work. So I think Nagelsmann could be a good choice because of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think
I
Spalletti
would love.
to me, Spalletti would be a big surprise for
But
me.
would Spalletti leave after winning the Scudetto?
But that's what I'm saying. It would be a big surprise for me if he would leave. But, and it's a big but, we've seen, like you both have just mentioned, Chelsea likes to spend money. And we have seen Chelsea go after these coaches who have won the Scudetto, a.k.a. Conte. After Conte won, Chelsea went after him hard, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're willing to spend. So,
That's
again,
a good point, Steven.
to me, it would be a surprise.
I think the only reason why Spalletti is in that conversation is because of the connection with Osimhen. If they're able to bring in Spalletti, they have a better chance of bringing a striker that they actually need. And Osimhen is the number one
target for everybody this
for
summer.
absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
So
No.
I will be honestly the guy that I would actually be willing to actually give him a few run a nice little run at the EPL will be Luis Enrique. I think that's a coach that we all have seen his work ethics, not only in Barcelona but also on the national team for Spain, and it will be actually nice to actually see him in EPL.
Yeah, I'd love
Yeah,
to
but I
see
don't
his
think
style
Chelsea would
soccer in
have
the
that
EPL.
patience with him.
No, he's a very heated guy.
Well, then maybe he should come coach Inter Miami because we have a lot of patience.
You have $15 million to pay him.
Exactly.
I don't, but we have a lot of
There you
patience.
go.
So
There you go. There you go.
but
Penal!
what happened? We
PK!
got
PK for
got-
Philly.
PK for Philly. All right. Well, we're
Yeah.
I was
86 minutes.
I was actually gonna
86
wrap it up, but
86
we're gonna keep the stream
86
open.
minutes.
I was gonna wrap it up. We're gonna keep the stream open because
Hey, the goalie killed this forward.
we want to hear Socio's commentary here. So we'll keep talking.
Man,
here.
the Atlas jersey is ugly as hell.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's shoulder. That's a PK. That's not a handball.
All right, so we're gonna
Ball bounces inside the box. The forward beats the goalkeeper and hits it with the shoulder forward, and the goalkeeper just killed him, ran him over.
Man.
So we're gonna
Yeah,
stay.
the
We're
ball
gonna stay
is-
watching the
We're
PK.
gonna stay live with you until at least through this PK.
Atlas is arguing with the ref. Bedoya has the ball in his hand. I guess
It's a
they're
PK.
trying to ask for a card.
It's a PK. They have nothing.
Oh,
to
never
do.
mind. Goalie's on. They're just telling him
Yeah,
to get in the line.
So
Colombian goalie, by the way, Camilo Vargas.
Sí,
while we wait for the for the PK, I do want to go over a couple of big games in the MLS this weekend.
let's do it,
other
let's
than
do
the
it.
Inter Miami Dallas game. Philadelphia does play Cincinnati. I think that's a big game since Cincinnati's in first in the East.
Are they gonna be free on Apple TV?
Their Apple TV will have some free games. I don't know yet which they are. I think they announce it later in the week. But I don't know. I don't know who's going to be free on Apple TV this week.
There was a big wave of interesting things said on Twitter this week about that.
There was actually, somebody, I believe, one of the MLS Gone Wild, or one of our friends. He said something that apparently the viewership was only at 40, or the subscription was only at 40% or something. And there was, I guess we were having some conversations with him, and I guess somebody from MLS actually reached out to him,
asking out of that.
Yeah, asking if he had any questions, any specific questions on MLS attendance or on anything really regarding their contract with Apple or anything, to feel free and reach out. That they're willing to hear back. So we'll definitely keep you guys on tabs with that, because our counterpart did ask this person in the MLS Communications. It's actually the VP of MLS Communications that reached out to him. So he did ask him a question, and we'll keep our viewers on the ropes or on tabs about what the question.
I honestly.
Here we go. Oh shit! It went in. Goal
de Philadelphia.
Yeah.
All right. Goal de Philadelphia. So there you go, Nico. They're gonna get a win. You think they can keep a 0-0 tie in El Jalisco?
I'm not sure if they can keep a 0-0 tie, but hey, as long as you come out,
minutes of this
make
game,
the
they hit them
semifinal
hard.
All right, and going back really quickly,
just under the keepers.
Going back really quickly about the MLS viewership and all that we know that it's down. We saw another interesting stat.
This face.
We saw an interesting stat that there are other I guess cable companies or providers, streaming providers who, like for example Paramount, who provide other leagues and all that, who are doing it for less. So that is a big point. That that could be talked about, and it's maybe something we could talk about in a future broadcast, because the Apple TV is charging $14.99 for the package, $14.99 a month.
I think it's a $14.99 a month, or if you divide it the whole season completely, it goes up to $14.99 a month, because I think the season is worth $99. Which if you break it out, it comes out to $14.99 per month.
Understood.
Or
Understood.
minutes.
But you have other streamers, for example, Paramount Plus, who you pay $5.99 a month, and you get La Liga Argentina, you get Champions League, you
Serie
get
A.
you get Serie A. You also have on Peacock, which I think there you pay $4.99 or even
$5,
$3.99.
yeah.
Oh, it's $5, yeah. And there you
$5.
get the EPL. So I mean, you have all these
ESPN
other
has FA
ESPN,
Cup,
where
La
FA
Liga,
Cup, La
correct.
Liga.
college soccer, all those. Come
right,
on.
but you have all these other
18
streaming that are offering, I guess you could say better soccer or better choices.
Yeah.
Better viewing options for a cheaper price. So, this is something that the MLS should definitely take a look at.
Definitely.
And
Shout out
definitely
T-Mobile,
for next year. So, yeah, shout out T-Mobile for the free code.
Yeah, I wonder how they would be doing if they didn't, do a promo code with T-Mobile.
Could you imagine?
Because I know a lot of people that have, for example, in my point of view, in my own opinion about this, I have the MLS pass because I have T-Mobile. I don't know if I would have paid $100 as much as I love the MLS, as much as I love watching Inter Miami. I don't think I would have paid $100 to actually watch the MLS.
I wouldn't have paid. I would not have paid.
We know.
I would not have paid.
Well, we know that clearly.
We know that, bro. You need the 400
I would
million.
not have paid.
You need the 400 million from Al Hilal to pay.
I'm like LeBron. I still got Pandora with the commercials.
but also I would like to see and I wouldn't mind if it was $15 and they gave me more. You get me?
Exactly.
I feel like, and maybe this is a work in progress. We don't know the full potential that Apple has as far as this deal goes. We don't know how far they're gonna reach, with their content because it just started. We got to remember that it's only been 6 weeks. So it's gonna take time for them to adapt. This is something completely new. Apple has never done live broadcasting. If you think about it,
right.
it's always been shows here and there.
Yeah, I mean, they just started with Major League Baseball and then now with the MLS. But I will tell you this, Nico, if Messi were to come, I guarantee you nobody will have a problem paying that $15.
Yeah, because you also got to take into consideration that the MLS is owned by Apple, not just in the U.S. but worldwide. So people that are in other countries, they're going to be paying for that too. So I think it will work. I think that I don't want to say that price is based on it, but the more I see it, the more I lean towards them knowing something about Messi coming and making that decision based on that.
I'm not gonna lie. Even if Messi comes, I hope T-Mobile hooks it up again because I ain't paying $15 a month. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Hey, I love you. I love you guys, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The Tip family.
$50 a month, bro.
We'll raise you some money at the stadium, Socio.
Hook me up with your login, dog.
Nah, bro. Socio, we'll put you at Drive Pink Stadium with a little sign that says, "Yo, I like watching Inter Miami." You're good, bro.
That's another thing too. We all have. Well, Socio has a T-Mobile hookup. I have the T-Mobile hookup. I don't know which one you have, Danny.
I have a T-Mobile hookup.
But we share our login within the family, so
right.
We're Latinos, guys. We're Hispanic,
We don't.
Back in the 90s, we were throwing the cable across, each other's houses.
They don't know about that.
Nowadays,
we share passwords.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, any final thoughts for our listeners? Both
go to the stadium. Go to the stadium this weekend.
Stevie,
Inter Miami versus FC Dallas.
Stevie, Sunday.
I do have one final thought. I do have one final thought that I want to leave everybody with, and it's a mini rant. And this is about the local Inter Miami community. I feel like when we compare ourselves, we say we have the greatest fans. We say, we go out there and we yell and this and that, but we're missing, the fans on social media. I feel like other fan bases like LAFC, like Orlando City, like Columbus, St. Louis, Seattle, their fan bases, really, really, really get on social media and really, really, really react, with podcasts with players, with coaches, with teams, and get together. And I think that's really what, the Inter Miami community wants, whether it be, the Latinos, if you use Facebook or you use Instagram or you use Twitter, it doesn't matter. What we need us as a community just to get together, talk about soccer, argue about soccer, listen to our different point of views. I think that's important for all of us because, at the end of the day, soccer is life, like Danny Rojas says.
Football is life.
Football is life.
And
football is life, my friend.
And look, man, we all got opinions, and it's fun to share them, and that's why we're here with you guys every week. And we like to share our opinions with you, and we'd like for you to share your opinions with us. So
yeah, and you're absolutely right on that.
I wanted to
absolutely right on that. And if we want to grow, not only as a city, as a franchise, but also if we want to actually be labeled what we think we should be labeled, which is the football capital, not the soccer capital, but the football capital. We should improve on that.
Or this international, franchise or brand that Jorge Mas talks about and David Beckham talk about. If we want to truly become that, then it all depends on us.
Let's prove it.
Yeah, it depends on us, the fans. So, I just wanted to leave you guys with that rant, for Nico, for Socio, for all the other guys on This Is Football, for all of you listening on Spotify, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. For you guys looking, watching us on Twitter or on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Don't forget, when we get to 250, we will be raffling off.
We're almost there.
Yeah, I think we were at 220 earlier today. So once we get to 250, we will be raffling off a Inter Miami jersey signed by the player of your choice. So we will make that available once we get to 250. But once again, for all of us at This Is Football, thank you very much. We'll see you again next Tuesday. Be on the lookout for a special episode later this week.
Peace.